Solid Waste Special Service District meeting on June 17, 2026. My name is Colin Topper. I'm the chair. We'll just go around and introduce ourselves. AJ.
AJ Throgmorton, board member.
Ashley Wareham, treasurer.
Chris Scoville, district manager.
Jessica Thacker, program manager. LJ Blackburn, administrative coordinator.
Thank you. Did we have any emails?
We did not.
Doesn't look like any citizens to be heard. So moving on to action items, the review and approval of the May 20th, 26 meetings minutes.
I reviewed them. Are they in here? There was one word that I just want to make sure we're all on the same page about. Where did I see it? In staff reports. We were talking about crushing the concrete. There it is. Regarding a potential acquisition of a concrete crusher. I thought we were just gonna rent it, right? Okay, is acquisition mean rent also? Cause in my world, that's like we just purchase it, so I don't.
Yeah, I think that we change it.
I just
That's,
I just don't want people looking back and like, they're buying a crusher, what? You know, that's the only thing that I saw.
So do we want to make a motion with that simple change?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion. To approve the May 20th minutes. With the simple change of. Acquisition into. Renting or just a different word, so it does look like we're renting it instead of purchasing it. Yeah, I'll do that. Okay. That's my motion.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Ashley. Thanks, AJ. Okay, all in favor? None opposed? LJ, please let me know if I'm getting ahead of you.
Oh, you're fine, because I can always watch later too.
Yeah, good. Okay, so moving on to staff reports. Chris, do you want to start us up?
Yeah, I'll just be brief because most of my, really, everything I was gonna talk about is all in the agenda. Just a couple quick things. The public-private partnership agreement with Danish Flats Waste System. The draft should be finalized June 22nd with a meeting scheduled with Sean Goza, the owner, and his legal counsel the first week of July. The audit that finally got the letters that we needed. I've went through and adjusted, so the narrative to our audit was just all over the place because we didn't know which way to go, so that's been finalized and sent over. And so I had a financial assurance deadline given out by UDQ Monday. I was able to submit what they wanted minus the letters, but the letters have been sent, and I'm gonna be setting up a meeting with UDQ to kind of go over and try to set up a process moving forward that everyone understands, so that hopefully next year this will not be such a hassle. And that's all I got. Although actually, we got some visual stuff that we might go through first, just to, after everyone gets done with their staff reports, just to kind of get that out of the way.
Okay, so they need the meeting link sent, it looks like. I must have sent it wrong. So. I'm not sure how it's almost gonna do it. Oh, I guess we do it. Sorry about that.
You're fine. Yeah. Jessica, do you want to go ahead and go? Is that okay?
Mhm.
Okay.
Pull it up. So I had one written, but I forgot to send it in time. But I did put it in everybody's packets. It's behind the minutes. So very high level stuff that occurred since the last meeting. The Glass Recycling Foundation grant is now open and we're actively generating the application packet. We have received a little letter of support from the Grand County Commission, got that yesterday. And we are on the agenda for the Moab City Council support approval on July 23rd, so vote in the positive.
Okay,
June 23rd.
June 23rd, yeah. We've secured more commercial compost partners. We now have Moab City, the Mark, the Synergy Company, Community Rebuild, and 98 Center. So as of this meeting, we have collected approximately 1,800 pounds, nearly a ton of food waste. And composting activity has been observed in the composter with corresponding temperatures. So I'm actually starting to notice spikes in the temperatures in the composter, because we finally put in a lot of material. We put in mulch, we put in some fines from the trommel. We put in more manure from the Spanish Trail Arena, plus our food waste. So we're actually starting to see some action happen in the composter, and I'm quite excited about that. The waste tire removal application has been submitted to UDEQ for approval. Once approved, we can begin the removal process. And with the regulator's help, we now have a pathway moving forward regarding pursuing the waste tire transporter and the waste tire storage facility permits. A request has been submitted to the UDEQ as well to upgrade our used oil collection center from a type B to a type C, which essentially just increases our collection capacity and who we can collect from. Because right now the closest type C is either in Bullfrog or Provo, Spanish Fork area. And we have a lot of businesses or larger capacity used oil individuals that would like to utilize our facility, but since we're not in type C, we can't. And UDEQ's given their full support on that. Our household hazardous waste collection area was emptied by Veolia on May 28th. The bulb eater arrived at the CRC. Chris, Aaron, and myself completed the training and were able to operate the bulb eater. This item should help with disposal costs, save space, and increase safety. So instead of just having potentially broken bulbs just hanging about, we now have a containerized HEPA filter, like dual HEPA filtered unit that crushes the bulbs. And so we have a 55-gallon drum rather than 8-foot tubes everywhere. I've was able to start a collaboration with the Southeast Utah Health Department on responsible vape disposal and management. We have a meeting, or we're in the process of scheduling a meeting to discuss with the Price office and the Moab office. And as you all know, it's Waste and Recycling Workers Appreciation Week. And I'd like to express so much gratitude and respect to our own workers for all the hard work that they perform in this difficult industry, as well as other workers in Grand County who work in similar fields such as janitorial individuals or street workers and that sort of thing. And last but not least, some other programs and items that have progressed or are upcoming. There is the Moab City Multi-Stream Collection Pilot Program that we're working on, trying to get the infrastructure ready for that so we can start getting residents signed on. Historical record management, expanding source separated recycling to the Canyonlands Transfer Station, 4th of July fireworks management.
Oh, it keeps going to the May meeting. That's weird.
And CSWA's participation in this 4th of July parade, plus a bunch of other administrative tasks. Lots.
any questions or comments for Jessica?
Yeah.
Thank you. LJ, what would you like us to do? Do you want to give a report? Do you want us to come back to you? You can certainly come.
Mary's in the waiting room.
Who is?
Mary.
Oh, yay. No, that, maybe not later. Or somebody, yay.
So
So,
using the wrong link, so thank you.
no, it was my fault. I accidentally sent the wrong link. We're just waiting for Nick, but I'm gonna jump to my report. I don't use it. So I was able to put it in the packet, but I'm been working on getting more and more accounts signed up using ACH, either directly through MACU or to them, just by having them do auto pay. I've also been working on some troubleshooting issues that we had with the new URS system. But I did recently find out that we could have our payroll vendors, payroll vendor directly give the information to URS, so that download and upload will be a lot quicker. There'll be a better chance for all the information being inputted correctly, less chance for errors, and it'll take a lot of time away from either myself or Savannah, because the new system is very cumbersome and time consuming. And we're still waiting to hear back from them. They never did respond to you yet, Chris, about the cost. So there's two different options. So we're still waiting to see which one is going to work the best, we think. And while I haven't had any new incidences of counterfeit bills, I did go to the federal website and get information on counterfeit bills and make sure that all the people that handle cash have that information so that we can look and see just in case. And I made sure that we ordered some new pens to test them as well to make sure everybody has some of those pens. I know that we have one in the transfer station, but it probably needs renewal. The other thing that we've been talking about that I didn't forget about or found out after I did this is we're looking at a new printer to replace the one in the transfer station admin office. And with that, we would have an attachment that would do the folding and stuffing of the invoices that we send out. And currently we're taking that to the Moab Canyonlands Copy Center. But by doing it ourselves, we could save about $3,000 a year, about 250, because it costs us between 250 to $300 a month.
Wow.
And that's with the extra cost of that attachment. We'd still be saving that much more money.
That sounds great. Yeah. So what's such a thing? Any questions or comments for LJ?
No, I think the bank got that thing taken care of finally for me.
Yeah, I saw that.
The list.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to board reports. Do any board members have reports? Mary, anything to report?
Got a question. Did we get the financial assurance for closure, post-closure from the city? Yeah,
Yes,
good. Cool.
yeah, about an hour ago.
Oh, nice.
Just a letter though, not the financial packet, but that's okay. I can pull it off your website.
Probably the only thing I have to report is that the county is very supportive of having us get it's a CIB loan, but it's through another process. Did you explain that in your report, Chris?
No, it's kind of down on the agenda that I'll go over.
Okay.
I talked the RFQ.
Yeah, so they seem to be very supportive of that, of the solid waste district in general. So that's very good. That's all I have.
Great. Okay, any old business?
Or just Nick have.
Oh, sorry, Nick. Forgot you with staff report. What do
Oh,
you
yeah,
got?
sorry for the late arrival. I was having problems with the link. Just continuing to work on reviewing the P&Ls. There's probably a couple of things I need to get with LJ on, just to make sure that some of the notes or the dates on some of the notes, but still haven't, still working on getting the budget into QuickBooks. I know I said that last time, but I just got sidelined with some things, but that's gone to the top of my priority, get that into QuickBooks so we can pull reports, for actuals against budget. I reviewed the audit report. It looked good. There was just a slight difference, but it's immaterial. But, so yeah, it's, financially, the numbers look good.
Great. Okay, questions or comments for Nick? Okay, moving on. Is there any old business?
Wait, did we skip action item for review and approval of May 2026 financials?
No, that's the old agenda.
Oh,
Okay, moving on to E, discussion possible action item RFP for Green River.
Want me to pull up the agenda?
my.
So this actually goes back a little ways. When we first set up our recycling program, drop off in Green River, there was like the beginnings of discussions with a couple of people, and it had reached the level of the city manager. But then there was a tragic accident and the city manager passed away from Green River. So we didn't think it was really appropriate, so we kind of backed off, and since then it kind of dropped off my radar a little bit. But Ashley noticed that Green River had issued an RFP. And what the RFP basically is after is they want to make their own landfill just outside of city limits there, which is about 33 miles from Klondike. So I guess my intent would be to answer the RFP, which is in the packet, but not necessarily to help them permit, design, run a landfill. It's another alternative to set up some sort of transfer system there where we can just take all their volumes and take them straight to Klondike. Given that Green River's pretty close to the same distance as Moab is from Klondike, and we're obviously after more volumes. That's I mean, that's kind of the gist of it. It gets pretty in depth. I started to try to reach out to the city manager, but you're really not supposed to kind of speak about things once an RFP is issued. And I'm kind of hesitant to ask some of the questions I would like to ask, because I also don't want to kind of derail their whole RFP by some of the questions I would bring up. Because it's a lot to go from having a zero landfill to requesting a landfill from the state, your financial assurance. We all know how much fun that can be. So the deadline, it got moved to July 17th. So
Where does their trash go now?
well, they're talking about building a C&D landfill. Right now, all of their municipal solid waste goes up north, either to the Carbon County or ECDC, through city sanitation, which is owned by Waste Connections. I have reached out to Waste Connections because they're in violation of, I don't remember the resolution number, but they do collect trash that was generated in Grand County and take it outside of Grand County. I had a couple of initial conversations with Waste Connections, but I'm having a difficult time to get to the city sanitation connections for obvious reasons. You know, they don't want to deviate from their current system. And ultimately, I mean, I think that it would be, and we'll have to kind of see what their contract cycle is for the municipal solid waste, but it would also be my intent to put in a bid. Because once again, it's just as far for Moab City as it is to Green River. We have the interstate, but I don't see that as an issue, especially if we can move into a better fleet, which we're gonna have to, anyways.
We're
So,
working on that right now, so I
Yeah,
think we're in the
yeah,
process of
yeah.
that.
yeah,
All right.
I can't remember. I know when this came out, and I don't know if these RFPs are different than things that I look at. Was there like maybe a site visit or anything?
there was a site visit that had already happened.
By the time we found it, okay,
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah, we did discuss
And
this.
in fact, me and Jessica reviewed the list earlier, and it looks like a lot of people on the list and we deal with these people too. They're just basically generic companies that bid on everything that's out there. And then what they do is they actually go to the people that actually do it and they third party it. I know that a lot of RFPs are written to make that not legal, but I don't think this one is through the Utah procurement. This is just through the city of Green River.
I call them pencil pushers. They are everywhere.
Yeah, we get it with the national parks. As soon as that comes out to bid, we have tons of people calling us trying to get our fee schedule so that they can add a little bit on it. So they can get it and then they'll have us do all the work and then they just get the percentage off there. I think we did fix that now. Cause when we bought Monument Waste, we no longer were able to access their first stage in the bidding process. So it would go out to small businesses and we would get just hammered with all kinds of companies trying to get the bid and then have us do the work.
Well, I mentioned you could convince them of some real benefit of a transfer station model. Just
Yeah, and then whether,
that you could expand from there.
yeah, and in fact, in the RFP, I'm gonna put in different options. Try to work with them. I don't think they realize the hassle of trying to
Absolutely.
start a landfill. Plus, I would be worried if this state would even approve a landfill right next to another landfill that is already permitted. I mean, if that's their model, we're in trouble anyways.
Is there a possible action item on this?
Yes, it's just to get the board's approval for me to
Okay.
kind of submit the RFP because there would be a significant investment, obviously. Wow. But the return is obvious.
Do we have any questions for Chris or a motion?
If there's no questions, I'll make a motion that Canyonland Solid Waste Authority go forward with the RFP for Green River.
Great, thanks, Ashley.
I'll second it.
That's our best option.
No, I agree.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Okay. Thanks, Chris. That's pretty exciting.
Yeah, no, I think this is, yeah. And thanks, Ashley, for noticing that. Like it had dropped off my radar. This was one of those things on the list.
I was pretty excited. It's helpful.
Moving on to discussion possible action item uniforms for drivers.
So we've been discussing this actually for quite a while and it is underneath, it ends up being the top bid and comes in about, rounded up to 16,000 a year. Right now, what we do is we have, shirts made. Short sleeve shirts, long sleeve shirts, we also purchase and then we just buy those and give those out. We've discussed this with the drivers too, because I didn't necessarily want to force them into something and pretty unanimously, all the drivers are supportive of this. So basically, they would just turn in their dirty uniforms at the end of the week and there would be another week's worth of uniforms waiting for them. We already do this for our mechanics. So this would just be an expanded thing on top of that. And the other thing is a couple of them would also supply free lockers for them. So we can assign lockers for the drivers, kind of give them their own little area too. And that's part of kind of expanding over to next door. But yeah, this is just one I just kind of wanted the board to be aware of because there would be a contract involved. Kind of in negotiations, they obviously want a longer contract than I'm going to give, but just to kind of make the board aware.
Okay.
I think this is a great idea, and I'm sure their wives are gonna love it.
Yes, yes. In fact, that was the plan. If we had any drivers that was a person pushback, we would talk to their significant others to help motivate the decision. Cause I know my wife, I had my own separate laundry basket that was outside.
All right, what questions or comments do we have?
So is that pants and shirts?
That would be pants and shirts. There would also be like, some option and what they do is, so that cost covers replacement costs and everything. So if they take the stuff and they can't get them clean, they replace them. We're kind of negotiating whether, big, long, like, pants in the winter time, possibly shorts for those that want them in the summertime. So they'll be flexible that way, but they cover everything.
Yeah,
They guarantee that it's like a functional uniform.
so it would be summer and winter uniforms.
Right,
Okay.
Yes.
probably not like jackets and stuff.
Oh,
So it basically be the long sleeve and the shorts
Yeah.
kind of options.
Do we have a motion?
We need a motion on that.
Yeah, there is one.
Yeah, might as well.
I move that the district supply uniforms for the drivers at a cost not to exceed $16,000 a year.
I'll second that.
Okay, thanks, Ashley. All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, Mary. Okay. None opposed. Moving on to G, action item, motion to approve financing for renting excavator.
So we've actually did quite a bit of research on this. We went through about every available company out there. And I guess my plan behind this would be for about 6 months. Which puts it about $42,000. Komatsu has come in at the lowest. Right at the last minute, they've actually dropped it down $1,000. So the monthly rental would be $6,800, $6,900 a month for a rental, and this has to do with some of the different things that we're going to be testing out up at the Moab landfill to be able to help handle the different material and stuff.
So it's pretty much brand new. I think Bob, you have questions
Yes,
as I'm reviewing it. It's,
Yes, please.
cause you and I went through it
Yeah.
before. Okay, so it's pretty much brand new. It has the thumb, like a real thumb.
And that was actually negotiation. They wanted us to either pay $18,000 to install the phone. Or they wanted to have a committed period of time for the lease. And this was their last offer, is that it could month to month, no cost for the thumb, but we will get a thumb.
Okay.
Um,
And they're gonna put it on the machine, cause it sounds like the machine doesn't have it, so they're gonna plumb it
Yeah.
all on there.
Yeah.
Good. For no extra cost, and we can go month to month. And are you going with the rotating attachment?
So that is, so this is just the excavator. He's going to let me demo the pulverizer.
Okay,
So if that is something that works out, then that would be a separate,
then we'd add the 13 and the 8. No, that's a Carrot Plus.
yeah, that's, yeah,
Then we would
this,
add the
yeah,
13.
yeah, this is, goes down to like, cause this is,
Okay.
can also be switched to a rent to own.
Okay. I didn't
So,
see that.
and he gives some calculations on what that cost is. It's about 80% of the rental goes towards the purchase price. There's some couple of caveats, but he did send over like the spreadsheet that gives you the actual how much gets applied. So there's inflation and depreciation, obviously they do a little accounting, so it's not quite 80%. But,
So when it arrives, that's when you're gonna start demoing the rotating attachment with the pulverizer that we talked about.
right, okay, so what we're gonna do first is, try the pulverizer without the rotating. He says he can pin it straight. If it does have to rotate, then we would have to run another hydraulic line and that. I
That's the
think-
13,000.
No, it was, it was about $3,000 plus most, costs. But the other thing that we were gonna do is help, basically go and. Because the thinking now is we wanna pull everything out of the working phase that doesn't compact. Concrete will go into our concrete pile. That's still kind of up for debate whether that's our reality. Ashley did go up, we went up there, we measured the pile, we looked at it. She has some experience trying to do this. I'm not gonna push this if it doesn't work. So part of having the excavator up there is it lets us, try some of these different things out.
Okay.
And kind of moving forward, the plan would be to rent some of these like shredders. Or demo some of them first. And then if they work, then we would rent them, and the excavator is gonna be needed to load materials and absorb materials and things like that.
So is that gonna be a daily task, or on always happening task, the pulling material out of the working phase?
It's going to increase what an operator has to do up there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, which is a good thing,
Okay.
because there isn't a full day's work up there. There is right now. But just in normal day-to-day operations,
Yeah.
and we have an operator that doesn't do a whole lot all day long, so.
Okay.
But yes, it'll slowly turn into, and then as we start adding some of these other things. Obviously, there's gonna be more operational costs associated because, yeah, we're gonna need somebody in there operating these things.
Okay.
So people drop stuff off and it goes into the face, like they just do normal customer behavior. And then this excavator's running, pulling.
So it would just go along the working phase probably once a day as far as what it would pick out. Pull out the concrete, throw the concrete into the concrete pile, pull out all the metal. Metal will go eventually make it back to our metal pile.
Is there a way we're gonna be able to track how much metal we pull? I'm just curious. I'm watching I'm like the bean counter, like, hey,
Sure,
if we're
sure.
able to pull out so much metal. Like this is almost paying for itself each month or something. How can we
Absolutely.
Make this.
And so.
To us?
So we've identified a couple of issues that were going on as far as our intercompany transfers. We have a couple different trackers, and I've identified we're actually probably double booking some of our volumes and stuff, so we're in the process now of kind of correcting things. I didn't want to jump too far ahead because I know Nick uses a lot of these trackers and stuff, so we want to make sure everyone's on the same page. But it's through that means that we would be able to track, because we would be loading them into a roll off and it would be transferred here, and we would track that.
Okay,
And I use those numbers to help with our diversion and recycling rates.
okay.
Somebody has a full load of concrete. Can we just guide them to the concrete?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And we actually, our fee schedule is set up to motivate people to keep it separate, because if they come in with partial concrete and partial, we charge them all concrete, or they're supposed to charge them all concrete. So they have to pay more. And then the thinking is that one will motivate them to separate it, or two, if we have to separate it, that extra cost is the sorting that material.
I do, and you and I kind of touched on it, that there's another location in Moab that does get concrete for much cheaper than
Yes.
what we take them
Yep.
there. So I
Yep.
hope that we can see some benefit and bring down our rate too,
Yeah, yeah.
if it makes sense. I mean, I don't want to do it prematurely if it doesn't make sense yet.
Yeah, and then all that has to be kind of taken into consideration. And I think that is part of the bigger picture of things, because I know that we increased fees based upon our need for the budget without actually looking at what fees we were increasing. I mean, we just kind of went across the board and increased a lot of things. And obviously that we've benefited from that, because we've been doing a little bit better, but because we didn't go through and identify what we were doing, it's also hurt us a little bit. Last year, we had a drop in our roll-off, services that we provide. And if you notice, every contractor has a dump trailer. I'm sure that was part of the motivation is, of that. So that is definitely something that we want to look at and really try to, and I was going to bring this up later, but since we're right here is, I guess, look at, so when Moab closes, there's going to be a huge opportunity because for roll-offs, because without having access to Moab landfill, there's gonna be, it's gonna open up a bigger market for our roll-off. So we want to be competitive, because we don't want to create room for somebody else to come in and start a roll-off company cheaper than us, because that's gonna be kind of the only option unless people are willing to take it out here, or we can get infrastructure at the transfer station. So we really need to look at and we want to be kept competitive, and we want to, support the community. That's our biggest mandate. So that's, construction roll-offs. We need to really look at that and make sure that we're pricing to what the market, will give us, rather than just trying to, make sure our budget works. I mean, we have to figure out our budget. Like we can't do things moving forward, because we're just going to price ourselves out of the market if we continue to increase because of that.
I love that. Price to our market, not to our budget. And I hate that. Plaster that on the wall, because the market does do this.
Yeah.
And we will lose it if not.
Yep. Yeah.
And we're doing the same thing with our recycling, because markets have opened up, especially recycling markets when it comes to electronics and batteries and universal waste. And there's a lot more vendors that are coming online. So that's something that I'm doing on my end, is finding all the electronic recyclers, all the battery recyclers, all the other recyclers, and getting pricing from them, because right now it's just a flat fee. And that's not how we need to be going forward.
Yep. It's great.
So I love that you guys are aware and you guys are already looking forward into this, so just keep up the momentum. I love every board meeting we come and Jessica's like, look at, I found all this. You're not like that, but that's how I view it. It's like, I found, we're gonna start this, and it's so great. Thank you.
Well, and it's just moving from kind of being isolated and to accept that there's other opportunities. And, once again, our mandate is to provide a service to the community, and, it's kind of exploring all the avenues.
Yep. All right, do we have
Okay,
any more comments or questions or a motion on this one?
so we're gonna start by renting it. If it makes sense, we'll need to know within like the next 12 months if we're wanting to buy it.
Sure.
Is that where we're-
If we
where we're
want to
looking?
maybe revisit this in 6 months, I mean, I think I can provide a basis, or at least something in 6 months.
Okay.
Probably more realistically would be closer to a year, but I think we'll get a handle on some of it. Like the pulverizer is gonna be easy. As soon as it
Yeah.
gets here within an hour, I know whether, that works or no.
Right.
Back to the drawing board.
Right.
I do see the future benefit of a track hoe. These things are just an excavator, whatever you wanna call it, is just, they're fantastic.
Yeah.
I see the future benefit of it. But I know that we have a lot of big purchases coming our way, and it just.
Well,
It'd be the cheaper ones.
Yeah, and this is something too, because there is gonna be a lot of ask kind of moving forward. And I'm hoping to kind of make sure that I keep Nick kind of on board and we just keep paying attention. Especially with the purchase of this compactor. I mean, that's huge. That's $200,000 a year. That rates our debt services from about $450,000 a year to $650,000 a year. So, I mean, yeah.
And that's where we need to keep in our mind, we're pricing to the market, not our budget. So we don't wanna skew our budget to where
Right.
we have to be like, oh, we gotta raise this. Anyway,
Yeah.
I know you know that, but I have to say it out loud in your brain.
So, and it's worth saying. I mean, it's something that I have to tell myself because, you know, I get lost in all my different models and stuff, and this would be great, and this is the way we need to do it. But we can't afford to do it that way. So,
It's one step at a time, and I
Yeah.
think we're moving in the right
yeah,
direction.
yeah.
Since I've rattled the most. Okay, I move to approve the rental of an excavator not to exceed 9,500 per month for an option to buy out at a discounted rate not to exceed 312,000 with a percentage of the rental rate going towards the purchase. But we'll revisit this in about 6 to
Yeah,
12
yeah.
months. Okay. All right.
Thanks, Ashley. A second. Thanks, Mary. All in favor?
Right?
None opposed. Okay, moving on to motion to approve compactor purchase wording for financing. So,
Oh, so I've been speaking with Zions Bank. Zions Bank has approved us. They were supposed to get back with me, so we were already approved. Where the board has already approved, up to $1.4 million. This motion was supposed to be because whenever we go through like traditional financing, like Zions and stuff, they will require certain language in the motions, just to verify that this is a real thing. Zions Bank has not got back to me with that language yet. So we'll have to revisit this. It's on a credit close because we do have the machine and we are utilizing the machine. I do so the total ask, and I'll get with Nick on this because the other thing that I did was so there was a negotiation from the original. They basically had it at 5 years and some hours. We went back and forth, so I got a full extended warranty for 7 years, 10,000 hours. And there's an option for a service package that will be, will match that, this 7 years, 10,000 hours. The service package comes to be 230,000 on top of the 1.135 million, which brings the total cost of the machine to $366,458. But I think, obviously, I don't have the language for you guys to give a motion, so I'll bring this up next board meeting. In the meantime, I will get with Nick and Ashley if you have any input on the service thing. I'm thinking about maybe not going for it's actually for the whole 10,000 hours service.
Are we talking about the compactor or this Comtech screen?
So
The compactor. Okay, sorry, I'm a little lost.
yeah, there was.
Is there anything in here for the compactor? No.
No, because I had actually pulled it, but if
Oh.
you want, I
Okay,
had
there we
that.
go. Thank you, sorry.
So the first page, that's the compactor numbers. The second page, or the second package is the service package that debating whether to try to roll that into the financing. The other thing that I talked with Nick, but I think it's an important thing to bring up, is we're looking at about a $300,000 pull from the PTIF fund for a down payment. The financing terms we're looking at are 5 years. So we'd like to kind of get it paid off and then still have a couple years of warranty and stuff. The ultimate goal would be to theoretically run it for 2 years at Moab. That gives us 2 years to extend the life of Moab while we work on the closure and the transfer station expansion.
And does that give us 2 years to sell that other compactor?
It does. So we have 1 year left on the warranty for the bow bag.
Already?
Yeah, it's been a year.
Yeah.
Bitter one.
And I don't know, the problem with non-cat equipment is it does a nosedive. This would be the same, to be fully transparent, with the Komatsu excavator. They do not hold their value like a cat equipment does. So basically, when this compactor moves out to Klondike, we'll have to kind of look at the market price, because it might be worth keeping the Bomag as a backup, because it will no longer be out of warranty or in warranty, so we don't have to deal with, because it's Komatsu who does it, and the warranty's been a nightmare. But power equipment out of Grand Junction, that's where we actually bought the Bomag from. We could then service it, and I've talked to them over there, and they would be more than happy to come over and service it. They just won't, they can't do warranty work on it. So that would be the option. Just to answer about whether we would sell it or not. I can't answer that, because I wouldn't sell it for $50,000.
No, but could you get 500 out of it, or is it not?
No, last time in fact, when we were looking at the extended warranty, I was looking at them, they were barely at $200,000.
A quarter of what you bought for it?
Yeah,
Oh, this makes me sick.
but that's what you get for not playing nice with cat.
Drive by cat.
That's why yes, I try to buy cat as well.
Yeah. What's the cost difference on cat versus that one?
Well, it's more than the cost difference with cat, because both the Bomag and this Tana, I would rate better as far as the compactor. That is something that cat doesn't do very well yet. They are improving, but there's really no competition in my mind as far as the compactors go.
That service package for the 230K, that's for the 10,000 hours?
That's for 10,000 hours, yeah.
Okay, so that's $23 an hour, basically. Okay.
Yeah, and they do break it down. They actually have a breakdown, and I'll forward that to you, Nick, on the breakdown of what the cost per hour is. For the service package, and whether we want to try to fit that into the financing, or whether we'd kind of pay as we go, or if we want to maybe do a portion of it and then relook at it.
Yeah, it depends how we want to set it up, whether that's part of the capitalized cost, or we put the service contract into prepaid and then amortize it, depending on, yeah. So there's some things we can look at.
Okay. Any other questions or comments on this one?
I feel sick about it.
Yeah, it was definitely money that I had not planned on spending, especially for Moab. It was something that we were planning on doing, obviously, for Klondike. But I mean, this might be a good time to bring up those pictures. It is amazing, the difference of the working face that was up there. If you remember when we were up there and it was almost as high as our clothes level was, it's disappeared.
I think I'm just bummed, like, I had hoped that we would be able to sell the one that we had bought the ridiculous amount of warranty on
Yeah,
and get something back for it to put towards this one, but it doesn't even sound like that's an option anymore with this.
I mean, it may.
Who knows what the market will do, but.
And it is, and part of it is just because of Bomag. And, you know, whether they can get more established, that's. And it's just, my opinion is that it's, if you can go to the pictures of the working face. So that was, go back one. So that isn't even the whole working face. I should have got a before and after, but
Can you
that's the
ma-
closest one.
I'm unable to see it.
Yeah, you have to share this one.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go down the Zoom.
So this is when he's already compacted some, but what we had to do is we had to push the working face out.
Share.
and then slowly push back layers and then run over those layers, and we just pushed it back and it never rose up.
Really? How far did you guys push off? Did you put, how deep did you push off?
Down to our last lift, so down to where the dirt was again.
Okay.
I mean, we talked about maybe mining it a little bit and trying to go further, but I don't know, that's just.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we just kind of got.
You just dissipated it. then.
So there should be another picture in there. I'll kind of just scroll through them. So that's a little bit before too. That's another before, but that's before, that was actually last year. And that's when we stopped moving it. So it had actually gotten so tall, it was almost as tall as that, road that you can see up top. Keep scrolling through. Another kind of before-ish. And then there should be one I took today. Yep,
Wow.
there should be another one too, I think. So yeah, all that, it just basically just, there it is, that's the one after they've,
There's this.
finished.
That's amazing.
So we almost think that by doing, because if we would have pushed that pile out, we would have been done with that lift and we would be about starting. We would have a little bit of fill left in the corner that we have to pop up on top. So we're thinking that given the what it's been able to do so far, that this lift will last us the rest of this year.
Wow. So,
And that's why, you know, if we can get the concrete and the metal off here and we're just compacting material. I mean, I think this is gonna do as intended. The price tag and investing this machine is unfortunate at Moab, but otherwise, we were looking at closing at least to the public by the end of the season.
so this is pushing that close date.
Yeah, I
Further
think
down the road.
at least 2 years, I think we have. But that doesn't mean that we have 2 years to not do anything. 'Cause,
No, no
I mean,
way.
this stuff really should be planned like way ahead, but it definitely buys us some time. Yeah, that's just,
Eats it up.
yeah, that's just amazing. I mean, cause I was concerned, just from what our dozer does with the C&D, I just got in my mind that C&D didn't just compact very well, but that thing just demolishes it.
What's that machine weigh? It was just
Um,
sticker shock. I couldn't read anymore.
it's over 80,000 pounds, but we can fill especially when it gets hot, you fill the water with,
Okay.
or the wheels with water. And that'll add another, 5,000-6,000 pounds, so we can almost push close to 90,000 pounds with that machine.
Wow.
Wow, that's amazing. That is absolutely amazing.
I've got a video of it, Ron. It's like. Yeah, very good.
And that's all it does. $1 million to drive backwards and forwards.
And I'm sure it's built to just tear itself up because that's how all my other little compactors are.
Oh,
They're
it
so
is.
expensive and they just rattle themselves apart.
Well, thus the long warranty,
Yeah.
because they do not have a good life.
Okay, so you were getting a 10-year warranty with it.
7-year warranty,
7-year.
10,000 hours.
Okay, 10,000 hours, that's what she said. About how many hours do you think it'll run a year or?
About 1,000 hours is what we do at Moab. I'm not sure because we haven't done this before. I would say like our dozer up there probably only had 400 hours a year on it. But we also didn't use it that much because we didn't really get a whole lot accomplished, and then we also would break it every time we would use it. That would cost us.
Should probably use it like, what, 3 hours a day?
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm not too worried about the hours. I mean, that's one advantage we have when we get equipment is we don't, like a construction company, we don't put the 50 hours a week on machines. I've done some long-term, low hour leases where we had a hard time, last excavator we had up in Moab, we got it for a year with 750 hours and we were like looking for stuff to do because we had hours left. We're like, what can we do with this? Yeah, a construction company that could be, a couple months easy.
All right, what other comments? And thank you for the videos and pictures.
Mhm.
That was
Yeah,
very
I mean,
helpful.
It was very helpful. It helped my heart.
Well, and I mean, I'll be honest too, I was a little concerned committing $1 million. I mean, cause it's one thing for the salesman to promise you all these things, and I know what a compactor does to MSW, so there was a little bit of a leap of faith that this thing could accomplish that, so it was a little relief to go up there and to talk with Mark. We have a really good operator, and he was like, oh yeah, this thing's just, yeah, he loves it. I mean, it's built with operator comfort in mind too. The only thing that we have is it drives a little wonky because
Controls.
it's a front, so where the articulation is, the operator sits on the front portion of it.
Mm.
So everything is kind of backwards. It's really not, but just from the perception of the operator, everything is backwards. But yeah, they get used to it, so.
All right,
Luckily, they're just crushing stuff and not have to be very.
Yeah, no, it's, you don't have to be precise with this. It's just backwards and forwards until it's
Yeah.
doesn't go down to the bottom.
okay, thanks, Chris. Moving on to I, action item, motion to approve amendment to the bylaws for board composition.
So I went to send this on to the county commission. They wanted me to send over a copy of the bylaws. I started reading the bylaws, and in the bylaws, it actually states specifically that the administrative control board, through a majority vote, can amend our own bylaws.
Yes.
So we changed course. We don't need the county's permission to do this. So this is in regards of bringing on the Southeastern Health Department,
Great.
thing. And I think it's in there. You get the right wording, LJ?
Jessica, did you add that? Is that if you added, no, that was a report, no.
It's in the recommended motions.
Yeah, it's a big one.
No,
Okay.
it's the long one that we had Mike read last time.
Yep.
I'll take it.
Um,
Okay,
Alrighty.
I move that the Administrative Control Board of Solid Waste Special Service District Number 1 approve the board structure for incorporation into the district's governing policies, bylaws, resolutions, and related organizational documents as applicable and consistent with Utah law. The structure shall include 1 Grand County Commission representative, 1 Moab City Council representative, 4 citizen members residing within the 84532 zip code area who are not currently elected governing officials. 1 additional citizen member residing within the 84532 zip code area with preference given to a Castle Valley resident who may also serve on a Castle Valley governing body, and 1 non-voting advisory member representing the Southeastern Utah Health Department or another related essential public service provider as approved by the board.
Nice, thank you, AJ. Mary, thank you. Okay, all in favor?
I,
None opposed. Thank you. J, action item, motion to approve the trommel screen.
We spoke about this before. We did get it on site and we did a demo. I don't know, that's, you guys wanted to watch the demo of the trommel screen. It works as intended.
is that this one?
Yeah. We can actually, our loader up there fits perfect in the end of the hopper. There's So what I'm after is kind of like, what we did with the, compactor. I still haven't like negotiated some final terms and stuff with them, but they basically brought it down to us and demoed it. To make sure that it would work for what we have, and now I just kind of wanted some authority to go in and kind of finalize, the deal. I'm still waiting a little bit on a Vermeer thing, but I'm thinking that this is, the way that we're gonna go. There's a couple things to consider, with this. Is that this only will come with one screen, going back and forth, because I really think to accomplish what we need, we're gonna need two screens. So what this right now in there's a 1/2 inch screen, so, the screen product is an 1/2 inch minus, which is an excellent, for our fines to feed into our composter, especially where our composter supposedly has a 2-week turnaround, from the material. Going that fast, it's not gonna be able to break down some of the bigger, woody material. We would have to rerun it through, which is, always a good thing. This will be used for the compost too, so anything that wouldn't get compost, we could screen out it and the overs would run back through the composter. And then as far as a mulch product, it takes all the fines out. I don't think I would screen all the material, because some people like some of the fines. But it's the 1/2 inch plus material that goes through, but I'm thinking that it also brings out some of the bigger stuff. And if we got another, screen, we would screen for that perfect, like 1/2 inch to 2 to 3 inches is what I'm thinking would be a good screen mulch that people would want to buy. And then the overs from that, we would just regrind. A majority of this would be paid for with our, compost grant. There's $175,000 left, so the district's, buy-in would be, about $30,000.
Yeah.
This could also be used to screen soils, where we get a lot of like sod materials. We could run that through and then pull the soil out and then actually compost the sod. That doesn't happen all the time. But it can be used to screen other materials, even some aggregate. Although they kind of caution with a trommel screen, you want to make sure that you're not starting with too big of an aggregate, source, right? Because it'll bend the screen up.
So if we put a bunch of that grant money to this, are there any other purchases that we need to make with our composting that we would be stealing this money from to buy this?
Yes, but we also have, so when we got this grant, there was in kind, is that the right term? There was an in kind that we were supposed to kick in. I've already charged our last grind as part of that in kind. We're right now, Jessica mentioned, we're, doing the infrastructure for a pilot program in the city. Part of that would be a food collection. So there's a little bit, but we're getting in-house, but there's still a cost associated to build a trailer. Some of the containers, if we did a food collection, then would fall on us, because this would, clear out those funds. But I think the amount, and I don't know if you recall the amount that was it 100,000 in kind or was,
Here, I can look it up really quick.
so we were roughly
It's on the
about,
grant sheet.
yeah.
When do we have to have all that money spent by? Like, is there a
February
deadline?
2027.
Okay, so we're right on track. We're not.
Yeah. But we also would probably need to have a product by then too.
Where's our board sheet? There it is.
And we're gonna be selling the product that we're making, right?
Yes, but I have no illusion that we're not going to, so selling it is not gonna pay for it.
Our in kind is 75,202.
So this will make it into that.
Yeah, so between the 30,000 that we contributed, and hopefully they would accept that. Because it was basically given, but there's a little bit of gray area there. So, and then with the 30,000. We would still have 15,000 technically from our in-kind that we were supposed to put in there.
Okay.
And I think that easily covers, what we kind of need after that. But, back to your thing is, to me, the money in this is gonna be in the collections. And that's pretty consistent, across any, compost operation, is our money's is in the. And you do get a little bit, and if you're doing it good, I mean, it can be, significant, but it's never gonna pay for everything. It comes in the collections, it comes in diversion.
Is the revenue from the mulch still going up?
I'm sure I killed it.
It's
Because I stopped, us selling it, when we started this. Because the problem that we've had and what changed is when we got the grant, because we were selling out of our mulch every year.
yeah,
Obviously, we couldn't run things if we're just selling out of our product that we were gonna try to compost. So, that's been artificially suppressed,
got it.
I guess.
Well, it's cranking now. I mean, I know.
And we have, and I've released that, and yeah, I mean, in fact, there was supposed to be a citizen to be heard that was gonna come yell at me because I didn't have an operator up there all hours that were open to load mulch.
Yeah,
Which it's one of the aspects of reality, I guess. So yeah, we're selling it again, and the hopes is to even have a better mulch product to sell. I mean, and really the sky's the limit. I know I used to do trees when I was up in Salt Lake, and Diamond Trees has turned their waste yard into all kinds of different amazing products as far as mulch, like dyeing the mulch, and different sizes for screened, and there's different applications of why you would want it one way or another. Obviously, there's gonna have to be a huge kind of cost analysis on anything that we want to do. And also with the realization this is the desert, so we don't have an unlimited supply of green waste. Although much like the metal pile, I'm surprised that, I mean, we're full, we're ready for another grind right now.
We've done 357 yards this year. Mulch.
We've sold that much.
okay. Any other comments or emotion?
I don't know, I didn't go over these.
You did get a motion.
I moved to purchase the.
I would sorry, Ashley. I would add a little bit on there because like I said, there may be 225.
By the time we get out the door.
Yeah, and possibly trying to wheel and deal for another screen, or, I mean, I'll push that, but I just rather than try to come back. That
Okay.
just seems something that I would like to avoid.
Yeah, I would rather you get, and you be under and then we celebrate.
Which would put that, I mean, with the realization now, that puts it at, instead of 30, that puts it at 55, which that would cover, just so everyone's clear.
The in-kind, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
What's some of the periodic maintenance? Is there wear parts that need to be replaced every so often?
there are. This one's pretty basic, and it's kind of why we went that way, and that's part of the negotiations that I'm gonna go through, like, is there a service package available? Exactly what the monthly maintenance cost is, and I've talked to them, they're supposed to be kind of getting back with me, but this is kind of moving forward. This is where the negotiations at, is starting to get down into the nitty gritty of all those things. But this one specifically is supposed to be low maintenance. Like, they have a really cool one that's on tracks then you can move, because what's gonna have to happen with this one, it's called a pintle hook, and we can move this to where we want it pretty easy. But the ones with tracks is cool, cause then you can just kind of drive it around with remote control, going up and down, set all your pretty windrows, but it's $60,000 more for the tracks, and that's more things that can break on it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, this literally just spins.
The district responsibility was only 30K, or where did I get that number from?
That was, sorry, that's how I tried to explain that. So according to what was on the motion, so this thing was roughly 200,000. We have 175,000 left in the grant. So to round it up, I said 30, but then I asked Ashley to add that little extra on there to give me some room to finalize some things. Plus, whenever we do this, there's always whatever, for whatever reason, it's never the price that they tell you.
Okay.
So, but that would bump that our in kind of back to that conversation. That basically would pay for our in kind, which would not leave anything. So anything else, carts, this trailer that we're trying to design, that would fall on the district's responsibility. Yeah, this would wipe out that grant.
Sorry, before I interrupt, did you have more?
No.
Okay. When do we expect to have a product to sell, or whatever you guys are calling it? And when can we start collecting? Where you say we can make our money back on this? When do we kind of expect that timeline?
So
It's a year.
my expectations is we will have a fully operational pilot program by fall, which means that we are producing product that can be tested. If everything goes good with the testing, then probably next spring when we do our next grind and we
Sellable
can kind of,
compost.
yeah, well, that's so next year about the
I'd say about February,
yeah,
March.
because it wasn't at the deadline to have everything spent, because I mean, we're also on the deadline with the grant. They want us to have moved this along to a certain thing, and we got held up with the whole thing with the grants, and you have the grant, you don't have the grant. Oh, yes, you have the grant.
I do remember that.
And I imagine that the pilot program doesn't include a cost for collection.
We, right now, no, and Jessica has been making that very clear to the people that are coming on board right now.
We just want your
We're
stuff. at this
just,
point,
yeah, we're taking it for free. And the other thing that we're gonna try to do here is in our pricing structure for the people that buy in. You know, so we'll have like, if you go to a business and we take your waste, there's, you know, this much, but if you're gonna pay for the food collection, then we'll drop some of your other services, your recycling. So we want to come up with, and I don't have the numbers for that yet, but we want to give incentives, discounts for the different diversion things that you buy into. And part of the sell to that to the customer is all that stuff that you're not putting in your trash can will also reduce the frequency that you're gonna need to empty your dumpster, for example. And but we want to make sure that we're not, you know, we price ourselves out of the market. So that's we haven't quite figured that out, but we definitely intend to build incentives into that. Plus, they get to say we're green, you know, we're
Yeah,
you know, which
sticker.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the reason why my compost partners are so diverse, because I'm getting restaurants in town, I'm getting nonprofits, I'm getting governmental entities. And with community rebuilds, they're doing kind of like a multi-family unit where they've got the 65-gallon cart, but they manage 7 properties, or they have 7 tenants, and each of those tenants has a 5-gallon bucket that they're gonna be feeding into the 75 gallons. So when I talk to all these people, I'm like, because their main concerns are like, well, how much is this gonna cost? I'm like, well, it all depends on the data that you provide me, because I can see where, you know, my numbers are gonna come from a governmental sector, where my numbers are gonna come from a multifamily unit, where they're gonna come from a retail private business. And then we're also feeding into it as well. So like our own in-house contribution. And I was like, utilizing all of these numbers plus the multi-stream collection, which will be just straight residential, that will feed all of the data that we need to generate the pricing structure. Because we'll have the operational figures for every realm of food waste collection.
Yep.
So, smart.
So that's what I was trying to do. And right
And I
now,
don't know if you guys, when you guys leave, we have a sheet on this. Sample out there of a, kind of like a prototype food collection polycart. It's just this little.
Yeah.
cute-
I saw that.
I went out there, but it actually,
that's our food waste one, the yellow one.
it's, it lines up so that we can actually, I mean, if the food waste, collection picked up and we moved from kind of like the curb source separated and we had to just do, food waste collection, those carts match up to our tippers, so we could use a truck and just, tip those in. So we're trying to build so that we can scale up when necessary, cause that's really when it'll start paying dividends. But the big scary part for me is it's food and, you know, we have to be consistent with the pickup, like our recycling we do every other week, that would be an option with food. We would have to do it every week, so we would have to reach that, customer point where it would make sense to be able to run, you know, routes every week to do the food collection.
And we're gonna probably have to have a separate truck or a designated special.
Well, once we scale up, yeah, but that would, you know, obviously the system would have to pay for itself at that point before we would invest into another truck.
Yeah, that's when it becomes a full program
Yeah,
rather than a pilot.
and we're looking at some different options. So right now, part of this Moab pilot program we're talking, that's gonna have a food, portion to it too, so we can just start figuring out the logistics of how all of this is gonna work. We've already had a couple different failures in trying to, what we thought were what looks good on paper and what, you know, works in reality. So, but that's why this is a pilot. So, you know, we're not investing millions into it. But yeah, anyways.
All right, did we actually do
Did you have more questions, AJ?
No.
I moved to purchase the trommel screen for no more than 225,000.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, AJ. All in favor?
I,
Any opposed? Okay, we're moving on to K, discussion item, possible action item, roll off rental, possibly approve rental, roll off repair.
Yeah, so how that agenda item read is exactly how complicated this whole thing has turned into. So if you guys remember, the board has approved the purchase of a roll-off truck, no more than $270,000. The intent of that roll-off truck was to help, it was more geared towards the Moab closing, trying to start diverting materials from. So, and we've had a drastic reduction in the amount of internal things we're hauling to Moab landfill. We've been directing more and more stuff here, just like we're kind of using the Moab landfill for a testing ground for possible infrastructure here. We're also, by diverting a lot of the roll-offs in here, we're trying to figure out the logistics of when we get materials that don't go through our normal a way to transport things out to Klondike. So that was the intent, to try to get this other roll-off truck, was to add to and support the closure of Moab landfill. Since then, we blew an engine in one of our roll-off trucks, thus the repair. And there's one of our bigger standardized, those who had the luck to have listened to my roll-off speeches. I understand. So it's one of our bigger trucks. It's a standard truck, but it picks up the biosolids from the wastewater recovery facility. Which means it's super crucial, kind of similar to the national parks, like we can't not pick up the town's solid waste or biosolid waste. We had a truck blow up. We were thinking, well, great, we've already been in the process of trying to get another one. But then that puts us back into the same position that we were, where we don't have that extra one to help facilitate the C&D and the different things we're trying to divert from Moab landfill. So my thinking is first, we're gonna have to repair that truck. I don't see any other option. Which is about $23,000. And that's for a new engine rebuild on that truck.
That's somebody else doing it, or are you doing it in-house?
No, we have to, yeah, we are so, we got one mechanic that I'm trying not to chase away. So, yeah, that is third party Jackson Group Peterbilt out of Grand Junction.
Okay, and it comes with a warranty?
That will have a warranty on the engine.
Okay.
But it is also a 30-year-old truck. So, yep.
I don't mind it.
But it has a new engine in it. I mean, there's advantages. It just doesn't have the depth and all that stuff. But there's also talk in the industry that I don't know if you guys remember the what was it, Cash for Clunkers program that they tried to do. They're going to try to do that with older, bigger, heavy duty trucks and stuff, trying to motivate people to go to their newer, more delicate trucks is the way I would describe them. Anyways, so basically this kind of just threw me into a huge rabbit hole because I still have the 270,000 to get another truck that the board has approved. But that still doesn't resolve the bigger issue of our roll-offs and our proprietary versus standard system. So I started working some models with AI on what I could do with $270,000 if I rolled that into a lease program. Because part of this, the bigger conversation here is, and I'll touch on that on the next one, is we're gonna be going out and we're asking for all this money, whether it's through CIB loan, whether it's through an appropriation of the state, whether it's through all these things, basically building this funding stack to try to get acquire the property next to us, to try to get infrastructure. In here. I just, sorry, I lost myself. Try not to go down a rabbit hole here. I'm trying to keep focused. Anyways, I took that $270,000 and I ran it into a leasing model. The outputs actually go back, and I've been trying to do this for quite a while because, and that's where I was getting to too. So we can't expect to get all this money and frame it in such a way that this is going to be a one-time bailout. I think that in order for anyone to buy in and for us to get this money to be able to accomplish this, we're going to have to prove that this is a one-time thing and we're not going to just keep coming back and asking for more. The only way we're going to be able to do that is to prove that our base system is solid and that works. And I know that the board over the years, even before everyone here, the biggest thing was all of our trucks are always breaking down because we have such an old fleet. Anyways, back to the $270,000 and trying to run that into some type of lease model is I started getting back some pretty positive outcomes from it. So much so that I spread it out over the next 13 years. Cause I went beyond the $270,000. And instead of just the roll-off trucks, I threw in all of our tractor trucks as well too. So a total of 9 trucks. And so if we look at 13 years and buying all new trucks, because that's kind of where we need to be. We need to have newer vehicles. And with this bigger scenario where we have to kind of prove we know how to run this this whole organization sustainably. What we're doing now is not sustainable. We've kind of fallen back, and part of it's my fault because it was something that I was going to fight, is not to have this organization on a continual reaction basis where we just wait for shit to break, and when it doesn't break, we pat ourselves on the back. But we're gambling every day. We're gambling, and we're an essential service, and then that doesn't work. Anyways, this leasing model has come back. So over 13 years, if I bought 9 trucks twice, just to be fair to the model, because about 7 years is pushing it. Although your repair and maintenance, your repairs start spiking as you get past 5 years in this stuff. It came back about a total of $4.5 million, what we would spend for 2 cycles of 9 trucks within 13 years. And I'm using 13 years because that's when our bond falls off. And then we're in a completely different situation, depending on, what new situation we get in with the Moab and the expansion. In the lease model, we were about $4 million. But so it comes back a little bit cheaper, and that surprises me. And I'm going to be verifying this. I've done some initial verifications, but I'll get with Nick and have him try to test these numbers up as well. But it came back cheaper. But we have new trucks, and I did a 3-year cycle lease where we would just be turning all of our trucks in every 3 years. They're under warranty. It's optimal for your equity involved in it. And that solves that sustainable problem where we're not constantly dealing with breaking down trucks. I looked at something similar, if you remember, with a big truck rental, but their price was just so astronomically high that it just didn't make sense. But I was able to find a couple of distributors that are willing to buy into this. In fact, I got off the phone with one yesterday that after he started running some numbers was like, wow, I'm going to pitch this to some other companies that he deals with. So they have some municipal leases available that we buy into it. At the end of the lease, we still have an option to do whatever we want. And we get a 63% return on the amount of money that we put in the lease to roll into the next lease. And do you have a question?
No.
Okay. So obviously, this would have to be something that would be ramped to. We couldn't just do it all right now. We've added a huge amount of debt to us. So this would be something where we would kind of ramp into it, buying in either 2 or 3 trucks, and then the next year 2 or 3 trucks, and then the next year that many trucks. And then the other thing that affords is it's constantly going to be cycling through. So, and like I said, kind of how this agenda is written is because it gets confusing, and I wanted the board to be aware of what my intent is, because I think this is the way forward. And I would love to be able to do with the collection fleet as well, our rear loads, but they're a little bit more unique, and it's more difficult to get a truck built specifically for us and then be able to turn around. Where a tractor, they're quite happy to do that. I mean, they'll give it to you for 3 years. And if you buy their service package on there, and in fact, the AI model brand, I had already plugged in about $500 a month in maintenance. But the one, it was Mac dealership, if you buy their service package on top of that, which came to be back, it was actually a little bit cheaper than what I thought it was gonna be. They'll give another few percentage points on top of that, return, because they have their mechanics, servicing it, they keep eyes on the stuff. Anyways, to move this along, I'm after the approval to repair the truck. Is really all I'm kind of asking. Because this just kind of went back to that 270,000, but I was just gonna let the board know that, also that 270,000 would get me, if I just spent that on leases right now, that would get me into the beginning of 2028 with running, 4 new trucks by then.
So when you're talking trucks, are we talking tractors or are we talking?
Yes, tractors and roll-offs.
And rolls?
Yep. So we have 5 roll-offs and 4 tractors.
Okay, that's how you came up. with
So,
that.
so nine vehicles is what I'm going to pursue, running this lease model on.
Yeah. In general, I really like the idea, especially in this business of leasing trucks. What a, yeah.
And I think, I mean, that solves and to go back to our ask, I mean, that kind of sets us up. So, and then as far as the budget goes, and I had some PowerPoints and some fancy numbers that I was gonna throw at you guys, but I mean, I think I can kind of save that for another time. I know this agenda was already pretty long anyways, and a lot of it is, kind of speculation at this point, although I did get some confirmation. We have buy-ins from 2 different Peterbilt and Mac are interested in trying to see if they can fit into this model. So, I'm pretty excited about, being able to make this move.
Does anybody want to make a motion just relative to the repair of the existing truck?
Yeah. I move. We're not renting a roll off right now, right?
No, so the rental was because, so we blew the engine and we can't get that new truck. Like we're a few weeks out from the new truck. And then this is where, obviously, like, do we repair it? Do I just buy a new truck? And throw that into our fleet? Now, we don't have that excess, and so I was thinking about a rental, but I'm not willing to pay the cost of the rental right now. They said they can get this truck fixed in 2 weeks, so we're gambling honestly for 2 weeks there.
They can
The
fix it
other
in 2
truck.
weeks.
Yeah,
Do they got it?
they have it, and they have all the parts they found the last hit on the shelf.
And it's 23,000 out the door, or are they gonna find mysterious?
I cannot honestly answer.
So do you want 23,000 or 25,000?
I guess, yeah, 25,000. I mean, it's the actual, it's.
Be enough, that's what I get.
Well, I mean, as far as the engine, and I guess if there was other things, I would consider that a different thing. But as far as the engine, I mean, it's actually 22,320 is the engine with the replacement. I think that's 25 gives us a little bit of room if they do find something else with the engine.
Here's a for 25. I roll, okay. Okay, I move to approve the cost of repair of a roll-off not to exceed 25,000.
Second.
Okay, thank you, Ashley. Thank you, AJ. Okay, all in favor?
I,
None opposed. Okay, thanks, Chris. The discussion item RFQ for services to gather documentation needed to build a funding stack.
So, this all goes to what we've discussed a little bit. This addresses kind of Mary's, take on trying to go, to the state, for one-time appropriations. Going to the CIB board, I had, Forest Grant come up with this initial RFQ to go out because this is what we need to get all the documentation, to move, obviously, you know, for our application to the CIB, we're gonna have to have documentation and proof that this money is gonna get spent in the way that it's intended to be spent. I reached out to the CIB, I've reached out to an organization called CERTA, it's the South Eastern Rural Development Association Agency.
Yeah.
They've been super helpful, they've actually connected me with some more possible grants. So this is just the process of building this funding stack. I did, obviously I'm new to this type of stuff and we made some slight errors with the CIB board. I was told that I could also, so we are on the list with the CIB. Our application date is October. I was told we could go in and they have like a planning grant where they'll give up to $50,000 that has to be matched by the agency doing the ask that helps exactly for doing things like this RFQ. I went to the county and we were gonna amend the list to throw that on there. CIB came back and says, no, you cannot amend the list, even though the county does it all the time. They didn't know, but I got chastised a little bit by the CIB individuals. So I moved back down the ladder a little bit and I'm working with a representative. He's actually works for CERTA, but he's like somehow, and I'm trying to learn what all these different people are. So he thinks just by us being on the list initially that I can still do it, but he suggested delaying this. I wanted to put this RFQ out last week because if our application is due in October, we are putting once again right to the end. The other thing that I discovered, UDOT has a planning grant too, that may help with the traffic study. So, basically just wanted, to get the board kind of in the know of what's going on with this, RFQ. And as I'm starting to, interact with, higher state agencies, if you guys get a phone call, you'll know that it was me. And if I piss people off, I'm sorry. And I think I'm very cordial and accepting that I am ignorant in some of these things, but you know, I'll just keep pushing through and see what we do. I don't think there was a motion on it.
No, it was a discussion. Okay.
But it's all exciting and good. I mean, I got another list of grants for Jessica because she just loves doing them.
Yeah.
In fact, there's another engineering firm that they work with state agencies in helping do grants. There's a USDA grant. Two of them, yeah. So there's like
Actually, no, one of them's involved.
yeah. And that's I mean, that's how this is gonna be. This is the solution. It's not, there isn't just one thing that we're gonna be able to go to. It's just building this stack. And then as soon as we get buy-in from one, that's gonna get the buy-in from the other, and you know, it'll hopefully be kind of a domino effect. And
Let's,
yeah.
any questions for Chris on that? Okay, thanks, Chris. Last discussion item, the recycle center lease agreement.
So, those who are interested, I printed out an email. So this started with an ask from Bill Winfield and Brian Martinez. For an organization called the Trail Crew Program. They're a statewide organization that, I think their bigger thing that they're trying to do is they're trying to do all these trails that they're gonna connect all of these different parts of Utah together. So they had called me and asked if I had some space to let them set up like storage for some trucks and some trailers. I had some space over there. Kind of went through some different spaces and trying to be a nice partner. We decided that the recycling center would be a good location. There's an area in the back, as long as they don't get in the way of loading my trucks, that we don't use. He had a meeting up there with Bill Winfield, Brian Martinez, Mark Tyner, and a representative. His name was Alex from the Trail Crew Program. great, this is where you can go. I was kind of informed that it would be a couple months, but during the conversation, it went from a month to years, and then they wanted office space and internet and all kinds of things. I was hesitant to give them a response at that time because obviously I wasn't prepared for that, so I said I would get back with them. A few days after that, I was contacted by the state superintendent of this trail crew program. He seems like a nice enough fella. We had a discussion. He sent me over some templates. We have an office, or we have a building over there. We're only using half of the building. I said that if you guys are willing to cover what our costs are for the square footage, I'll just measure the square footage and what we pay on an annual basis. I'll measure out the square footage. You pay that portion of it straight across. We won't, raise anything as far as parking the stuff back there. That was me playing nice with the county. No cost there. He said great. He actually sent me over a template that designed that exactly. We tentatively agreed on it. And then the county, and there's a timeline if you guys want to read. I ended up sending this email to Bill Winfield because right after I had made this agreement, that the county came back and said that our lease was invalid, and that lease is in your packet. And said our lease was invalid and has been invalid since 2020. We went in our records. There's a record of LJ sending our payment in 2020. I had Lily reach out to the county in 2025 and then make sure that everything was good, because obviously it's a great lease, right? It's $1 a year for 5 years, and the lease reads that it rolls over every 5 years. So I just wanted to make sure, so we have documentation. I don't want to throw names out there from the county because this gets a little sensitive, and they said, nope, you're all good. So they sent me back this new lease, and the new lease read the exact same with one change. Let me find that lease. Here we go. So it was item 3 on the lease. The renewal terms. So the only thing they changed on the lease is that it went from an additional 5 years to an annual renewal. I wrote back to the county and said, well, that's not acceptable. I have tens of thousands of dollars of investment in infrastructure there. We have multiple buildings there. And I'm ready to do major repairs on our baler and other investments over there. And there's no way that I'm gonna invest public funds if, at the end of the year, you're just gonna kick us out. So I have reached out to a lawyer. I sent the lawyer all the correspondence, and I sent the lawyer what my response to them was gonna be, and he agreed that was an appropriate response. My response to them was, I can't sign this new lease, but what I would like to see is let's just honor this lease, because you guys have been honoring it, and you guys have understood the fact that this was a rolling 5-year lease. So let's honor this lease until 2030, and if you have other plans for the things, that gives me time to make adjustments. No response from them. His name is Mike Thomas, the superintendent, reached back out to me. I said, hey, look, I'm okay with the agreement, but if you go to item 4 in the lease, it basically states that I cannot sublet any portion of this, or this lease is null and void. So I reached back out to the county and said, basically, regardless of our disagreements on the lease, I just need you guys to give me written approval over number 4, and we can move forward with the trail crew program. This is something you guys wanted. I'm just trying to play nice and be accommodating. I mean, I've now given them everything that they asked for. you know, accepted they could be there for years, gave them office space, gave them internet. Even told them there's a kind of a common area that we have our meetings in for recycling. They could utilize that for meetings. So I just need you guys to give me that acknowledgement. And then there's that in this email, there's kind of a timeline of the back and forth. No response, weeks went by, Mike, Thomas reached back out, I reached back out to the county and they, sent, and there's some other caveats in here, but I'll try to speed. I'm sure you guys don't want to know all the gory details, I think I listed them in this, so I reached back out, final time, and then on Monday, they sent me over another option for the lease, and they did add back in the 5 years, but they gave a 90-day opt-out, so they could give me 90 days and kick me out of the recycle center at 90 days. Obviously, that's even worse than the annual. So like the whole spirit of that property up there, one, it's built on a dump. On top of the dump, you have 20, my guess is somewhere between 20 and 50 years that the county road department dumped all their stuff on there as well too. So it was basically just this kind of contaminated property that didn't have any use, and that's why they stuck us there, and the weed department and the mosquito abatement people. I sent an email out to Jessica and LJ and Nick because I know I've seen documents where we've depreciated the processing building. I assumed, and it was through hearsay, that we own half of the shop in the back. And so kind of to me, the intent was just, and that's why we had the $1 a lease deal. It was like, well, you know, you're providing a service, you know, recycling doesn't make any money. Here you go. One of the documents that Jessica found is the fact that we actually own that whole shop. We don't own the land, but we own the whole shop, and there's agreement with the county that we can utilize it and its surrounding areas until 2050. And in fact, the mosquito abatement, which is a county component unit, we also let use, cause we own that whole shop, and they use half of that shop for free until 2050. And then it's written in that agreement that we can take the building at after 2050. I don't know how feasible that is, but basically, you know, like there's more documentations that allude to the fact that this was kind of a long-term agreement and we were gonna go there. Bill Winfield had reached out, I'm assuming because he is trying to push this trail crew program and trying to see that, basically trying to figure out why it was getting stalled. I told him, he asked for a copy of the leases. I sent him a copy of the lease in this timeline of correspondence going back and forth with the county. I have no intent to be part of any lease that does not give us some type of assurances with our investments on the property. If the county wants us out, they need to tell us that we need to be out and give us an appropriate time to try to relocate or do what we need to do. So I put this on here, basically as the board, you guys have authority to direct me if you guys have a different way that you want me to handle this, or if you guys have some ideas, or I mean, that was basically, you know, me just trying to get everything dialed together in case this does turn into a larger issue with the county. I did hear back, I had a second correspondence with the attorney, so now we're paying for an attorney for this lease that's supposed to be invalid, that they're using the same exact language, so I'm not sure what they think makes it invalid. The second correspondence from the attorney is they think we have pretty good ground to keep this lease valid until 2030.
The 5-year lease, that was the original
Yeah.
2010 one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like you're handling it how I would like you to, until it becomes a bigger, if it does.
I guess, I mean, part of the intent too is I'm dealing with, you know, the administrators. I'm staff, they're staff, so this is on the staff thing. My other thing was, you know, basically also to kind of bring Mary and get her in the know. If Bill Winfield's willing to take this to, that, and Mary are willing to take this to the county commission level, then they can basically override what the staff is doing. I mean, and so so I was basically bringing this to make this public within my own board, obviously, before I enter us into any kind of litigation. I mean, I feel like you
What I
guys
will-
need, we're,
What I will do is I will email Bill tomorrow and set up a meeting to talk to him. Maybe we'll include you next week
okay.
and find
Thanks.
out how and what would, you know, it's really, I'm sad. I'm sad this is happening. So yes, we should find out what's going on and why. So
Could a commissioner even make these adjustments to this lease, or would it come through ComEd?
They could direct the staff
Yeah,
to,
yeah, because he's the commission administrator. He's not the county administrator. He's the commission administrator. So we tell him. So
This stuff came from a staff member, not a commissioner?
well, I don't know what the motivation is, and I really do not have any wish to, like, I am trying to build relationships with the city.
yeah, we want to have a good relationship.
Yeah.
And if they have other wild dreams for that, that's fine. I mean, I wouldn't even fight them on that. They just have to understand that I'm investing public funds into the recycle center. And if they want to get rid of the recycle center, they're gonna be the ones to do it, because when this comes down, and I guarantee this is not gonna be a pretty thing, there's gonna be some huge pushback. And it's why even this board has been hesitant, even as much as the loss of money that the recycle center has. This board has always been hesitant to close down because of the
community
kickback.
buy-in.
Yeah, the community pushback that'll take. So if this is what they intend, I mean, that's fine, but they have to be able to understand we've got infrastructure in there, we've got buildings, we got rights to that place until 2050. You know,
And
we're also.
sometimes I don't think they understand that it's built on a dump. It's not like I can remember one time there's a commissioner that thought, why aren't we building housing there? Well, you can't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's unless there's some type of remediation there. And let me.
And that would
add-
be so expensive.
Well, and not just remediation, it has to be state certified remediation, because this is a process that I've been dealing with the brownfield that's next to the Moab landfill. I spoke, in fact, last week to the engineer Terracon that did the county's things. I've spoke to Bill Reese, who's in charge from the state, that would be in charge of putting the certified stamp that our property is remediated. Nothing like that is cheap. I mean, you're talking huge investments of time and resources and money.
So I don't know where this is coming from. I have no idea. So I'll get a hold of Bill and we'll dig into it and find out what's going on. I will probably have you be part of the conversation, because then I don't have to. You're the one that's doing all the communication. I don't want to be a third party, because that's when things get confused and you end up saying the wrong thing, or you don't relay it correctly. So
And I-
anyway, I'll get a hold of him. I'm leaving town tomorrow. And I go to Canyon Country Partnership tomorrow, and then I'm gone for the weekend. So I'll set something up for next week.
Okay, and I'll forward you this timeline, Mary.
Would you please? Thank you.
Yeah, because this is the same exact one. This is just a printout of my email to Bill. I know it's a little bit more than he was expecting. He just asked for a couple leases, copies of the leases, but it's like, well, hey, look, this whole thing. And I also, I mean, the other thing is I'm still not holding up the trail crew program. Like in fact, I have an email to, saying that, acknowledging that I've been a good partner and, you know, what was kind of the holdup. I've been trying not to throw the county under the bus, for this, but I mean, what it comes down to is, no, I'm not gonna enter into an agreement that's gonna.
No, you
make the
can't, we
least-
can't. That's just not, it's inappropriate. So I'm sorry that you're dealing with this.
So they are out there now. They're just not violating section 8 because we're not subletting, but we're letting them camp out with some
No.
trucks and stuff. No,
No,
yeah.
I haven't done anything.
Play ball on this part for section 8. If there's one thing that they want in order to get what we want for our renewal term.
Well, and I would even, and I was trying not to even use that as a bargaining tool. But if that's, but to me, it's like, I don't see how. I mean, cause they're holding up both ends, like if that makes sense.
I
I
think
mean,
there's a rational explanation for it.
I would hope so. But, yeah. So.
Okay, what other comments on this? Okay, we are moving on to future considerations. Next board meeting scheduled for Wednesday, July 15th, 2026 at 4:30 PM. Good?
Yep.
Excellent. Do we need a closed session? Well, with that, I will go ahead and adjourn this meeting. Thanks, everybody. Look at that, 6:30, was 6:30 on the dot.
Not as bad as I thought.
Yeah.
I did
Thank
make a
you,
list.
everyone.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Mary. I made a list to try to keep me on track.
That was some of your finest work.
Hold on.
There was so many opportunities.
I know, I can just see you just start to catch yourself.
Stop the live stream.
Who's under more.